Welcome to my channel. This channel is dedicated to horror stories. As I stood at the doorstep of our modest suburban home, the crisp December air carrying the promise of an exciting day ahead, I clutched the prized possessions in my hands. 2 front-row tickets to the much-anticipated cricket match between Australia and England. My heart raced with anticipation as I turned to my sister, excitement bubbling within me. "Can you believe it, Sarah?" I exclaimed, flashing the tickets in front of her. Front row seats to watch Steve Smith in action. Sarah's eyes widened in disbelief as she took in the sight of the coveted tickets. "No way," she exclaimed, a grin spreading across her face. "You actually managed to snag front row tickets. That's incredible." I nodded eagerly, unable to contain my excitement. "Yep, thanks to Tom," I replied, referring to Sarah's boyfriend, who had managed to secure the tickets through a connection at the stadium. He really came through for us this time. With a shared sense of excitement coursing through us, we made our way to the WACA ground, the venue for the much-anticipated match. The streets were alive with the buzz of anticipation as fans clad in team jerseys bustled about, their enthusiasm contagious. As we approached the stadium gates, I couldn't help but feel a surge of excitement mingled with nervous anticipation. This was it, the moment I had been waiting for. Little did I know, this ticket would mark the beginning of an unforgettable journey filled with terror and mystery. Entering the grand gates of the WACA ground, the energy of the crowd enveloped us like a warm embrace. The stadium stood tall and proud, its walls echoing with the excited chatter of fans from all corners of the globe. Sarah and I exchanged wide-eyed glances, the anticipation palpable in the air. "Wow, would you look at this place?" Sarah exclaimed, her voice filled with awe as she took in the sprawling expanse of the stadium. "I've never seen anything like it." I nodded in agreement, a grin spreading across my face. "It's even more incredible than I imagined," I replied, my eyes scanning the sea of faces that filled the stands. "I can't believe we're actually here." As we made our way to our seats, excitement coursed through my veins, the anticipation building with every step. The atmosphere was electric, the air alive with the promise of an epic showdown on the cricket pitch. Taking our seats in the front row, we were greeted by a breathtaking view of the vast green expanse of the playing field. The stadium buzzed with activity as fans cheered and waved their team flags, their enthusiasm contagious. "This is amazing," Sarah breathed, her eyes sparkling with excitement as she took in the scene before us. "I can't believe we're sitting so close to the action." I nodded, my heart pounding with excitement. "I know, right?" I replied, my voice tinged with awe. "It's like a dream come true." Little did I know, amidst the roar of the crowd and the thrill of the game, a dark shadow loomed over the stadium. A shadow that would soon cast a pall over our day of excitement and joy. As the cricket match reached its peak, my bladder protested the copious amounts of cold drinks I had consumed in my excitement. Ignoring the urgency, I finally relented, excusing myself to find the nearest restroom. Sarah shot me a concerned look as I stood up, the noise of the crowd momentarily drowning out her words. "Are you sure you'll be okay alone?" she asked, her brows furrowed with worry. I flashed her a reassuring smile, trying to mask my own apprehension. "Don't worry, I'll be fine," I replied, my voice tinged with false confidence. "I'll be back before you know it." With a quick nod, I made my way through the bustling crowd towards the restroom, my heart pounding in my chest. As I reached the hallway leading to the facilities, a shiver ran down my spine, the atmosphere suddenly feeling eerie and unsettling. Ignoring the sense of unease creeping over me, I pushed open the door to the empty restroom and stepped inside. The sound of my footsteps echoed in the silence as I made my way towards the nearest stall, my heart racing with anticipation. But as I entered the stall and closed the door behind me, The chilling sensation washed over me, the hairs on the back of my neck standing on end. It was then that I heard it, the sound of soft sobbing coming from the stall next to mine. My breath caught in my throat as I listened, my mind racing with fear and uncertainty. Who could be crying in the empty restroom? And why did it sound so hauntingly familiar? Summoning every ounce of courage I possessed, I reached out to knock on the stall door, my hand trembling with trepidation. "Is everything okay?" I called out, my voice barely above a whisper. But as the seconds ticked by, the only response was the sound of the woman's soft weeping, growing louder and more desperate with each passing moment. With a sinking feeling in the pit of my stomach, I realized that something was terribly wrong, and I was about to come face to face with the source of my worst nightmares. Heart pounding in my chest, I pressed my ear against the cold metal of the stall door, the woman's anguished cries echoing in the empty restroom. With each passing second, the sense of foreboding grew stronger, urging me to flee. But curiosity, or perhaps sheer disbelief, held me rooted to the spot. Summoning every ounce of courage I could muster, I reached out tentatively and tapped on the stall door. "Hello," I called out, my voice trembling with uncertainty. "Is someone there? Do you need help?" For a moment, there was only silence, broken only by the woman's soft sobs. Then, just as I was about to retreat, a hoarse whisper cut through the stillness like a knife. "Please, help me." The voice was barely audible, yet it sent shivers down my spine. With trembling hands, I reached out to push open the stall door, the wood creaking in protest as it swung open to reveal the woman within. What I saw next would haunt me for the rest of my days. Huddled in the corner of the stall, her face obscured by a tangle of dark hair, sat a figure shrouded in darkness. Her clothes were torn and tattered, her skin pale and ghostly in the dim light of the restroom. But it was her eyes, hollow and empty, yet burning with a fierce intensity that sent a chill down my spine. For a moment, we stood locked in a silent standoff, the air thick with tension and fear. Then, as if sensing my hesitation, the woman slowly raised her head, her gaze fixing on mine with a chilling intensity. "Help me," she whispered, her voice barely a whisper. "Please, help me." With a jolt, I realized that I was not alone in the restroom, that there was something else lurking in the shadows, something dark and sinister beyond my comprehension. And as the realization sank in, I knew that I was about to embark on a journey into the heart of darkness itself. Fear gripped me like a vice as I stood face to face with the haunting figure in the stall. Every instinct screamed at me to run, to flee from whatever malevolent force lurked in the shadows. With a trembling hand, I took a step back, the urge to escape overwhelming. "Stay away from me," I managed to choke out, my voice wavering with fear. "What do you want?" But the woman only continued to stare at me with empty eyes, her lips moving soundlessly as if trying to form words that would not come. With a surge of panic, I turned and bolted from the stall, the echo of her whispers following me like a dark shadow. As I reached the door to the restroom, a wave of relief washed over me. Freedom was within reach. I could almost taste it. But just as I reached out to push open the door, it slammed shut with a deafening thud, sealing me inside with the sinister presence that lurked within. "No," I cried out, pounding on the door with all my strength. "Let me out. Somebody help me." But my pleas fell on deaf ears as the door remained stubbornly shut, trapping me in a prison of darkness and despair. Panic clawed at my throat as I frantically searched for another way out, my mind racing with fear and uncertainty. And then, just as I was about to give in to despair, a faint sound reached my ears, a sound that filled me with hope and renewed determination. It was the sound of footsteps approaching, the sound of salvation drawing near. With renewed vigor, I pounded on the door once more, my voice hoarse with desperation. "Help me," I shouted, the words echoing in the empty hallway. "Please, somebody help me." And then, miraculously, the door swung open, flooding the restroom with blinding light. As I stumbled out into the hallway, gasping for breath, I saw a familiar figure standing before me, Sarah, her eyes wide with concern. "What happened?" she asked, her voice trembling with worry. "Are you okay?" Tears of relief welled up in my eyes as I collapsed into her arms, the terror of the past few moments fading into memory. "I don't know," I whispered, my voice choked with emotion. "But I never want to go back in there again." As I clung to Sarah, trembling with fear and disbelief, a sense of urgency washed over me. I needed answers. What had I just encountered in that restroom, and why did it feel so chillingly familiar? With a determined resolve, I pulled away from Sarah, my mind racing with questions. "We need to find out what's going on here," I said, my voice trembling with urgency. "There's something strange happening in this stadium, and I intend to get to the bottom of it." Sarah nodded in agreement, her brow furrowed with concern. "I agree," she replied, her voice tinged with worry. "But how do we even begin to unravel this mystery?" I paused, considering our options. It was clear that something dark and sinister lurked within the walls of the WACA ground, and if we were going to confront it head-on, we would need to arm ourselves with knowledge. With a determined nod, I turned to Sarah, a steely glint in my eye. "We start by digging into the history of this place," I said, my voice firm with resolve. "There's bound to be some clue as to what's going on here, some connection to the events of today." With that, we set off on our quest for answers, scouring the stadium for any hint of the darkness that lurked within. As we delved deeper into the labyrinthine corridors and hidden alcoves, a sense of unease settled over us like a suffocating blanket, the air thick with the weight of the unknown. But just as we were about to give up hope, we stumbled upon a hidden archive tucked away in the depths of the stadium, a treasure trove of documents and records dating back centuries. With trembling hands, we began to sift through the dusty tomes, searching for any clue that might shed light on the mystery that plagued us. And then, amidst the faded pages and crumbling parchment, we found it, a mention of a dark and sinister presence that had long haunted the halls of the WACA ground, its origins shrouded in mystery and legend. With a sense of dread creeping over us, we realized that we were not alone in our quest for answers, that something far more sinister lurked within the shadows, waiting to be unleashed upon the unsuspecting world. Armed with newfound knowledge and a sense of determination, Sarah and I embarked on our quest to uncover the truth behind the sinister presence that haunted the WACA ground. With each step we took, the weight of the unknown bore down on us, but we pressed on, driven by a shared desire to unravel the mysteries that lurked within. As we delved deeper into our investigation, we found ourselves drawn to the hidden corners and forgotten passages of the stadium, searching for any clue that might shed light on the dark forces that lay in wait. With each discovery, the pieces of the puzzle began to fall into place, painting a picture of a history steeped in darkness and despair. "This is unbelievable," Sarah exclaimed, her voice tinged with awe as she pored over a dusty tome filled with ancient legends and lore. "I had no idea the stadium had such a dark past." I nodded in agreement, my eyes scanning the pages before me. "It's like something out of a horror movie," I replied, my voice barely above a whisper. "But if these legends are true, then we may be dealing with something far more dangerous than we ever imagined." With that realization weighing heavily on our minds, we redoubled our efforts, scouring every inch of the stadium for any clue that might lead us to the truth. But as the hours stretched into days and the days into weeks, it became clear that our task would not be an easy one. "This is hopeless," Sarah sighed, her shoulders slumping with exhaustion, as we sat amidst a pile of dusty documents and faded photographs. We've been searching for days, and we still haven't found anything concrete. I reached out and squeezed her hand, offering what little comfort I could. We can't give up now, I said, my voice filled with determination. We're so close, I can feel it. We just need to keep searching. And so, with renewed resolve, we plunged back into our investigation, determined to uncover the truth behind the darkness that lurked within the walls of the WACA ground. Little did we know, the answers we sought lay just beyond our reach, waiting to be unearthed amidst the shadows of the past. Armed with the knowledge we had painstakingly gathered during our investigation, Sarah and I prepared to confront the sinister presence that lurked within the depths of the WACA ground. As we stood before the entrance to the stadium's hidden passages, a sense of trepidation washed over us, the weight of our impending confrontation hanging heavy in the air. "This is it," Sarah whispered, her voice barely above a whisper as she glanced nervously at me. "Are you sure we're ready for this?" I met her gaze with a determined nod, my heart pounding in my chest. "We have to be," I replied, my voice steady with resolve. "We can't let whatever's lurking in there continue to terrorize innocent people." With that, we steeled ourselves for the task ahead, plunging into the darkness with only our determination to guide us. As we navigated the labyrinthine corridors and hidden passages of the stadium, the air grew thick with tension, each step bringing us closer to the heart of the darkness that lay in wait. And then, just as we were about to reach our destination, we were confronted by a sight that sent a shiver down our spines. A figure cloaked in shadow, its eyes burning with a fierce intensity as it emerged from the darkness. "Who dares to trespass in my domain?" the figure hissed, its voice dripping with malice as it advanced towards us. But we stood our ground, refusing to back down in the face of the darkness that threatened to consume us. "We're here to put an end to your reign of terror," I declared, my voice ringing with defiance. "We know what you are, and we won't let you harm anyone else." The figure recoiled at my words, its form flickering in the dim light of the corridor. "You cannot stop me," it snarled, its voice filled with rage. "I am eternal. I am beyond your comprehension." But we refused to be intimidated, standing firm in the face of the darkness that threatened to overwhelm us. With a collective shout of defiance, we launched ourselves at the figure, ready to do whatever it took to banish the darkness that had plagued the WACA ground for far too long. Little did we know, our confrontation with the sinister presence that lurked within was only just beginning. As we faced off against the sinister presence that had haunted the WACA ground, the air crackled with tension, every moment pregnant with the weight of our impending confrontation. With each step we took, the darkness seemed to press in around us, threatening to swallow us whole. But we stood firm, our resolve unshakable in the face of the evil that lurked within. "This ends now," Sarah declared, her voice ringing out with unwavering determination as she squared her shoulders, readying herself for battle. I nodded in agreement, my heart pounding in my chest as I prepared to confront the darkness head-on. "We can do this," I replied, my voice filled with conviction. "Together, we can banish this evil from the stadium once and for all." With that, we launched ourselves at the figure before us, our fists flying as we fought tooth and nail against the darkness that threatened to consume us. Every blow landed with the force of our combined determination, driving back the darkness with each strike. But as the battle raged on, it became clear that our efforts alone would not be enough to defeat the malevolent force that lurked within. With each passing moment, our strength waned, the darkness closing in around us like a vice. "We can't keep this up much longer," Sarah gasped, her breath coming in ragged gasps as she fought to keep the darkness at bay. "We need to find another way to defeat it." I nodded in agreement, my mind racing with possibilities. And then, as if by some divine intervention, a glimmer of hope appeared on the horizon, a faint light shining amidst the darkness. "The light!" I exclaimed, my voice filled with excitement as I pointed towards the source of illumination. "It's our only hope." With renewed determination, we fought our way towards the light, driving back the darkness with every step. And then, as we reached the source of the illumination, we were met with a sight that took our breath away. A portal of shimmering light beckoning us towards salvation. "This is it," I said, my voice filled with awe as I gazed into the glowing abyss before us. "Our redemption lies beyond this portal. We just have to have faith." With a shared nod, we stepped through the portal, our hearts filled with hope as we left the darkness behind us. Little did we know, our journey was far from over, but with the light to guide us, we were ready to face whatever lay ahead. As we emerged from the shimmering portal, the weight of the darkness lifted from our shoulders, replaced by a sense of peace and tranquility. Before us stretched a landscape bathed in golden light, a world untouched by the shadows that had plagued the WACA ground. "This is incredible," Sarah breathed, her voice filled with wonder as she took in the beauty of our surroundings. "I never imagined such a place could exist." I nodded in agreement, my heart swelling with gratitude as I basked in the warmth of the sunlight. "It's like we've stepped into another world," I replied, my voice tinged with awe. "A world free from the darkness that once held us captive." As we explored our new surroundings, we encountered others who had been freed from the clutches of the darkness, spirits who had long been trapped in its grasp, now liberated by our actions. With each new encounter, our resolve strengthened, knowing that our efforts had not been in vain. "This is all thanks to you," one spirit said, her voice filled with gratitude as she clasped my hand in hers. "You've brought hope to us all." I smiled, a sense of fulfillment washing over me as I realized the impact of our actions. "We couldn't have done it without each other," I replied, my voice tinged with emotion. Together, we were able to overcome the darkness and find redemption. And as we stood together, surrounded by the warmth and light of our newfound sanctuary, I knew that our journey was far from over. But with Sarah by my side, and a newfound sense of purpose guiding us, I was ready to face whatever challenges lay ahead. For we had proven that even in the darkest of times, there is always hope, and with hope, anything is possible. And as we looked towards the horizon, ready to embrace the future that lay before us, I knew that our story was only just beginning.